their disastrous expedition to fight the Angles at Catterick in North Yorkshire. One of the Gododin princes is named as Catraut of Calch Vinivd. I realised immediately that this is the oldest name for Kelso and also its deviation. In Old Welsh, Calch Vinivd means chalky height. And not only is part of the town built on such an outcrop, but the street leading to it bears a translation, the Scots name Chalk Hew Terrace, and in the 1128 charter, Kelso is spelled Calcu, Calch Vinivd, and Kelso are clearly the same place. But I found myself more than surprised to read the early history of the south of Scotland in Welsh, and more, to read of Welsh-speaking princes, kings and kingdoms in a place I thought I knew well. Who were these people? Where were these lost kingdoms? It seemed to me that there was another river running. Catraut and his Calch Vinivd led me to ask many questions, but in particular he suggested place names as a rich source for the early history of Kelso and the Scottish borders. What I found gradually revealed to me was something remarkable, a story of Britain and, more, the historical truth of the most famous secular story in the world. What people miscall the legend of King Arthur. Neither a legend nor a king. I found him remembered by the land, in the fields, rivers and hills of southern Scotland, and, by extension, by the people who farmed, knew and named where they lived. Unremarked by history, little people who walked and worked their lives for generations under border skies. And also, by looking hard at a small place, I began to become aware of a much larger picture until, after a time, I could lift up a map of the border country and see clearly the watermark of Arthur. Before I go on to the meat of what I have found, I should make some confessions and assertions. As a historian, I am an amateur, in the old sense of loving it, and emphatically not in the new sense of being sloppy or less than serious. I am certainly not an academic historian, not time-served, and with no folio of published papers to act as pencil sketches for the big picture. Anyway, what academic would want to do something so literally amateurish as to write the history of his hometown? Aside from a decent education, I only have two claims to bring to the reader's attention. The first is simple. Since no one asked me to do this, I am not obliged to be anything other than my own man. I care nothing for academic reputation, the conventional wisdom, or the weight of opinion. These researches are founded on common sense and sufficient erudition. My second claim will take longer to unpack. It directly concerns my interest in the names of places, more properly toponymy, and how my knowledge of all this began. When I was a little boy in the 1950s, my dad took me with him in his van to summer jobs. He was an electrician who worked on Saturday mornings, often going out to the grand houses of the borders to fit a plug on a kettle, or replace a light bulb for ancient aristocrats with servants still suspicious of electricity. The toffs, as he labelled them, did not interest him much, but my dad was fascinated by their land and their ability to hang on to it and shape it to their purposes. One Saturday, he took me to a place called the Hundy Mundy Tower. Standing in the dank wood, almost completely hidden, it was a chilly, creepy building resembling the gable end of a Gothic cathedral. My dad explained that it was a folly designed to